All right, ready and action. We're here in Delta National Forest in Mississippi. Yesterday we drove the 8 hours from home in Atlanta, Georgia to here.
So moving into today, this is day 2 of our 3-week adventure that we're going on. 2 of those weeks are going to be completely staying out of our vehicles. And moving into today's travels, we have about 8 hours to go. We're going to be going over to Dinosaur Valley State Park in Texas.
Our stay in Delta National Forest was quick. We just stopped over to sleep for the night and help break up the drive, so we didn't get much of a chance to explore. It was kind of just in and out to our campsite as well, so there wasn't much to see in the places we went. But if there are places we missed that it's worth going back to explore, let us know in the comments or reach out to us on Instagram at Offroad and Ray or Lemonhead Jeep.
While we're just highway driving, I figured I'd lay down a little bit of background about this trip. This is actually Colin and I's first anniversary trip. We got married on leap day of 2020. That was always a fun part of the plan of being able to have something extravagant on the leap years. So for this year, we decided that we were going to go on this cross-country road trip, taking both of our Jeeps. So it's kind of funny that even though it is our anniversary trip, we are spending a solid little chunk of it apart while we're driving. Probably about 7 or 8 months ago, I tossed it out as an idea. You know, instead of spending that money on a resort, we could buy a rooftop tent and we could go on an adventure for our first anniversary. And naturally, Colin, he clung to it immediately. And then there was no going back. Once I suggested it, that was happening. So he started doing all of the research for where do we even want to go.
Emily and I had never planned a trip quite this large before, but we pretty early on decided that we at least wanted to go west to places that we can't get on a normal weekend. First, we decided on some flagship locations, like we knew we wanted to get to Denver to see friends we hadn't seen in a while. Big Bend National Park stood out as a place that we wanted to go see, and from there it was filling it in with different campgrounds and national forests along the way to see as much as we could.
So we're in Glen Rose, Texas, which is where Dinosaur Valley State Park is, and there are dinosaurs everywhere in this town. It's pretty awesome.
We made it to the park just before sunset, so that night we focused on making dinner and setting up camp before turning in for the night. The next morning, we knew we had some extra time since the drive between campsites was going to be shorter, so we took the time to get out and hike the trails of Dinosaur Valley and explore a little bit.
We made it over here safely. Oh, look at those!
Are you able to see it?
I don't know. Well, I can see it in my real life, but... Oh yeah, you can see it on the video too.
That's incredible.
Look at those little feet. Alright, we're heading out of Dinosaur Valley State Park. Stayed for the night. It's about 11:30. We got about 5 hours today. Hoping to make it about 2 hours in the drive this morning and then stop for supplies and then head over to Monaghan Sandhill State Park. Dinosaur Valley State Park was pretty cool. Apparently the better time to come is during the summer when there is less of the water in the river. So it's a riverbed that has dinosaur tracks kind of running all up and down it that at one point I guess had dried out enough that the dinosaur tracks turned into fossils, and now you can still see those at certain points in time. There were a couple that we were able to see, so that was pretty neat, but definitely kind of sparked our interest in maybe doing a future adventure that is dinosaur hunting. So I don't know, maybe someday in the future we'll have that series. But yeah, on the road, day 3.
The drive across Texas was about as eventful as one could expect, but we still enjoyed it because even though it was mostly cattle fields and oil wells, it was still different than what we're used to seeing when we're driving in the eastern part of the United States.
Those cows are so big. Sorry.
Once again, we were reaching our campsite right around sunset, so quickly set up and decided to walk around a little bit just to see what part of the sunset we can catch. The sand dunes make for really good sunset and sunrise vantage points, which we very much took advantage of while we were there.
Alright, it is day 4. We headed out of Monahan Sandhills State Park and we are on our way towards Big Bend. Today, I think that drive is about 2 hours to get to the start of Big Bend, and then I think it's about an hour and a half past the entrance to get to our campsite. Driving through a lot of nothingness that as we've been going today, but got probably about 3 hours until we get to the campsite.
Emily's expectation for the time it would take to get to our campsite was perfectly spot on. However, after stopping at the entrance station, getting our passes, and taking a quick look at what we wanted to do, we realized there was a fossil exhibit between us and our campsite on the way into the park. So we decided we'd make a quick detour and hop over to that and check out the various dinosaur exhibits and fossils that they had in the exhibit. After that, we got back on the road to head to our campsite. It wasn't long before we got off of the pavement, which was a nice break from the last couple of days of driving. After about 40 minutes driving the backcountry gravel roads, we made it to our campsite. We got there, we started setting up, and we decided that we wanted to really just enjoy the night at our campsite since we had time to relax and we didn't have to be ready to get back on the highway the next morning. So we kind of just set up and then sat down to enjoy the sunset and the views over the mountains that were around us.
Alright, it is day 5 of our adventure and our first full day of being in Big Bend National Park. Last night, sleeping at our campsite, it was incredibly windy, so that was eventful. And then this morning, it also continued to be windy to the point that we ended up having to tear down our tent. We weren't planning to leave it up, but got uncomfortable with the way the wind was blowing, and luckily as we did get the tent put down, it actually started raining, so that was an added benefit. So now we are in Lemmy. We got the camp put down enough that we could drive away and leave Ray up at the site, and we're headed over to the visitors center hopefully get some weather updates. We weren't anticipating this level of rain and wind based on what we had seen beforehand, but seems to have changed. So we're gonna head over to the visitor center and see what activities might be good for today with the current weather conditions. We'll keep you updated.
So we went to the ranger station this morning to check out the weather since we weren't able to check that from our campsite last night. Once we were there, we decided to check out Lost Mine Trail and do a little bit of off-roading on our feet instead of in the Jeeps for once. It's about a 5-mile hike. The view's pretty incredible. After our hike, we headed into Chisos Basin to check out the lodge and visitor center and store to look for souvenirs. After that, we started our trek back to our campsite. According to the most recent weather report, we were in for another rocky night, but at least it was supposed to look better the next day. So we had that to look forward to as we had more exploring of Big Bend in store.
It is a gorgeous sunny day here at Big Bend, and we are about to head out of our campsite, Robber's Roost, and head over to Black Gap Road, the Badge Trail here, and start our day. When we left this morning, Colin said that it would take about 5 hours. It is currently 4:17, so we have been at this for 5 hours now, and we are like completely opposite of Chisos Mountains from our campsite, so that's cool.
Thanks for watching Staying Easy Presents. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can see the next part of this series.